Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Harry Potter Folklore. So today, I want to talk about the Gaunt family. Now I've mentioned the Gaunts briefly in my Sacred 28 video, which you can view from the link in the description below, but I want to expand more on what happened to the line and how it went from being one of the most prominent families of the wizarding world to a forgotten shell of a collective, because they really did play an important part throughout the centuries, even if the majority of the wizarding world didn't know that. So let's not wait any longer guys, let's break down the history of the Gaunt family and discover what happened to Voldemort's ancestral house. Welcome back guys, and thanks for sticking with me. So from the intro of the video, you know I'm going to be talking in detail about the Gaunt family and what happened to them. How did they go from being so prominent to basically being non-existent, forgotten about and extinct? Let's look a little deeper. So the House of Gaunt was up there with the Malfoys, Blacks and Lestranges for being heavily influential over the development of the wizarding sector of Great Britain for centuries, especially the early development. It was crucial to keep their bloodlines pure and their wealth in plenty, as tensions between Muggles and wizards were at an all-time high. The Gaunts were really focused on blood purity. Some might argue that it was more important than anything else, and in the end it led to their downfall, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. The reason they felt so strongly is due to the struggles that magical people faced against the Muggle world. For centuries, magical folk were hunted down and slaughtered simply for being different, for their gift not being understood. Despite having power, they were still outnumbered at least 5 to 1 and eventually separated into a new hidden sector where they built their own society and no longer had to fear the threat of Muggles. However, families like the Gaunts never forgot what they and generations before them had gone through and swore never to breed with anyone who was not of pure blood descent. Being the closest relatives to Salazar Slytherin, a man who pioneered the outcast of Muggleborns and the rejection of Muggles, they took pride in keeping their lines pure and spoke only in Parseltongue as a further tribute to their ancestor. The Gaunts acquired a great wealth throughout the early centuries and held such wealth right up until the latter half of the 19th century. Now, I've just mentioned that their pride came from their heritage, and this was further shown with the protection of the Chamber of Secrets. For so long, the chamber had been thought of as nothing but an old legend. No real truth to it, as Hogwarts had been searched so many times for such a chamber. What many did not know is that Salazar Slytherin passed knowledge of his chamber down through his own family line in order to preserve the chamber and the basilisk inside. One such family member was Corvinus Gaunt, a person who played a crucial role in the concealment of the chamber. Now, although there wasn't much information on Corvinus, I liked what I found, and I actually liked his approach to protecting the chamber too. Corvinus appeared to be sufficiently intelligent. With the new plumbing system set to be installed at the school, he was able to adapt to the system by hiding the chamber from the school staff in a discreet manner. He seemed to be mentally stable despite inbreeding. Well, at least the early stages of the practice were not enough to damage Corvinus' genes. He was also able to attend Hogwarts too, something that his later descendants within the 20th century did not get to do. His willingness to hide the chamber that was meant to drive off all Muggleborns from Hogwarts indicate his belief in pure blood supremacy, but despite this, he never sought to open the chamber himself. He did not want to know or see what was inside, as he would not be the one to begin ridding Muggleborns from Hogwarts once again. He done his job, concealed the chamber, and he moved on with his life. Corvinus was probably the best of the Gaunts while the family was in its prime. Wealthy, intelligent, duty-bound, and even upheld its pure-blood beliefs with some morals, but I did mention that bloodline of the Gaunt family would contribute heavily towards its downfall and eventually the end of its existence. Marrying purebloods to pureblood was all good and well for families like the Malfoys and the Blacks, and the Gaunts would do the same, except pureblood families were far and few, with not many children being conceived, perhaps 1, maybe 2 per family. children who then had the added pressure to find other purebloods to continue on their line and uphold the pureblood beliefs of the supremacist society they were part of. When it became too much of an effort for the Gaunts, they began inbreeding. First, cousins married cousins, then brothers married sisters, and before long, the unnatural deformities and mental instabilities emerged as more and more generations followed. It's not exactly known how the family originally achieved their wealth, but these later generations began to squander it without having any new source of income, which then led to impoverishment. Gaunts then stopped attending Hogwarts, preferring not to receive an education that made them coexist with Muggleborns and Half-Bloods. The high percentage of births not making it the full term due to strict rules and inbreeding meant the family tree diminished down to a father, a son, and a daughter. Marvolo Gaunt lived with his son Morfin and daughter Merope in a rundown shack that was basically close to falling apart. All three of them were unstable to some degree. Marvolo and Morfin more on the aggressive side, their only valuables being the Locket of Slytherin and the signet family ring that had been passed down throughout the generations. They held the tradition of speaking to each other in only Parseltongue too, but other than that, they lived in seclusion. The family line looked as if it would end with them anyway, due to the mental state of Morfin. Marvolo would die shortly after his release from Azkaban. He was weak and drained from his experience there. The news that his daughter married a Muggle sent him into madness, and he passed away within the year. Morfin, upon his release from Azkaban, was framed for murder by his nephew Tom Riddle and was sent straight back to Azkaban, dying before Albus Dumbledore could get him exonerated for a crime he didn't commit. The last true descendant of the Gaunt family line was, of course, Tom Riddle, aka Lord Voldemort. Tom went on to become the most powerful dark wizard to ever exist, before being killed by Harry Potter over 70 years later. The Gaunt family is a prime example of failing to adapt to the times, and realising that pride is only that, pride. And when it came to the survival of the house, the purity of its line mattered more than its actual existence. With that being said, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video on what happens to the House of Gaunt. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I always love reading them, and I will reply to as many as I can. Thanks again, guys. See you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.